Hi, welcome to my episode once again. In the previous episode, we talked about the spiritual identity, and the whole theme that we've been talking about is who am I? So, in today's episode, we will be talking about the physical identity. But first of all, let's briefly go through what we learned in the previous episode. In the previous episode, we learned that our identity or who we are comes in two identity or in two form, being it the spiritual identity and the physical identity. And we learned that the spiritual identity has to do with an ideal identity or something ideal, which composes of God's intent in our life. And we talked a lot about that. I can recall that we talked about it, that when we talk about God's intent, we refer to something being mystical. That is an identity which is mystical, which is a mystery, something covered, something is up to us to unveil, to discover it for our own benefit. And we also look at it from the angle that is something which has already been fulfilled, which means that God has completed everything, our identity, who we are meant to be, and what we are going to create, and whatever our view, it is already done. And our ability to discover it as a light onto the world is bringing it to known. That means it's something new to the world. It's a light. It brings enlightenment. It brings development. It brings advancement in everything that already exists. And we also talk about it being a vessel of exercising authority and dominioncy, which means that our identity, the spiritual identity, our spiritual identity consists of we being able to exercise authority and also dominioncy. And the third, last but not the least, we also talk about it's the fact that it's a proof of creation in existence and yet to come. And last of all is a seal of completion of creation and a proof of sovereignty. Today's episode, we are going to dive deep. So now we know that we have an identity as a physical identity, as in a physical identity and spiritual identity. Today we will dive deep into the physical identity since we are through with the spiritual identity. So walk with me. If you have any comment, if you have any question, you can drop that in the comment section below. Then I will attend to that, or I'll address that later on. Good. So today we'll be talking more about the physical identity. So this is where the whole thing becomes a little bit dicey when I'm talking to people concerning identity. The spiritual is fixed, it's hard to, manipulate, the only way we can manipulate the spiritual identity is through possession, where you've been possessed by other spirits. That for that one, your identity can be manipulated. But here is where the whole problem is. The problem we are having as a nation, the whole problem we are having as human being on earth, that's where it all emerges. You get me? When you talk about the physical identity, the sole thing that we are focusing on is the human will. The human will, our decision to do and not to do. In the physical identity, the engine to everything is our decision and our will. This physical identity is flexible. It is not fixed. Our physical identity is not fixed. It's flexible. It's easy to change. That is why, yes, divinely within you, you have that zeal to be a singer, or you have that passion to go into act work. But you go to school and your teachers are able to convince you to become a lawyer or to become a bank manager or something of that sort. Why? Because of your will. They convince you to conform to what they are telling you. They make you believe that this is it. This is it. This is the truth. This is the reality. This is what you must be. And issue with regards to will, the influences when it comes to will is easily influenced. Our identity, our physical identity is easily influenced by the information that we get around us, the influences from our surroundings. So the human will, physical identities, we are playing with our will. And as I said, it is not fixed, it is flexible. 2, it is subject to that law of garbage in and garbage out. So whatever you input into the person, his physical will, subject to that, it conforms to that, now he begins to produce. So if you teach the child, or if you teach a particular person, or let me say a student or a child, if you teach the child the wrong thing, he grows up to do that wrong thing that you taught him or her. That is the physical identity. That is the physical identity. So a lot of issue that we are having is because of the influences that we've given to us as we develop. And that this physical identity, even though it's flexible, is subject to change through influences from the environment, it has dimensions. We have dimensions. We have dimension in the physical identity. And these dimensions, I coin it in my own languages or in my own terms. So bear with me as I explain alongside. I have the first one that I call the pin code. The pin code. Even though it's subject to influences, it's subject to change based on the influences in the environments one finds himself. Yet though we have people who divinely, they have that one particular potential or gift that makes them stand out. They have only one gift. They have only one potential. I use the word pin coat. You are wearing a coat and that coat has pin in it. So it implies that this is who the person is. Immediately you sway the person from his or her direction. That is it. He fails to be productive in any field that you put that person. And we have a lot of people in our companies, in our organizations around us. You find a person in a business or in a company and the person is not productive. There is a particular aspect, there's a particular thing that person is very passionate in doing. He's a pin coat person. He was given one potential, one gift. But because the human will is flexible, it's easy to influence through our education system. We have been influenced that this is the true way. Do this and you'll be okay. So the person conform to the influences that surrounds him. Hence, he becomes that person. But physically, who he has been equipped to be is to become this person. He's equipped to become an artisan. He's equipped to become a musician. He's equipped to become an actor. And you end up putting him in the field of business, end up putting him in the field of being a doctor, when I'm putting him in the field of being a banker, and what have you. So the person won't be productive. So the pin coats are the people who have only one potential, only one gift. Then we have the second kind, which is the multicolored. The multicolored are people who it look like they can do everything. Whatever you give it to them, they can do. Today they are good in playing football. Tomorrow they are good in an artwork. Any field that you put them, they appear to be very good. Even though they are functionable in all those areas, yes, so there is one or two of them which is really dominating, that they are really good at. Then we have the third kind, or the third dimension, which is known as the square peg. The square peg people are the people who do not really appear to be spearheading anything, but they are really good in conforming to system. They are the kind of people who are like, do it, set it for us, set the motion for us, put the thing in place for us, and we'll follow. Such people are not good in leadership roles or positions. So they are more of conforming to systems that have been created. That is who they are. They are malleable. They are adjustable to system. They are adjustable to system. So when we talk about the physical identity, we are talking about the engine, which is the will and our decision. And our decision either makes us or it breaks us. And the physical identity is flexible, is subject to change based on the influences around such a person or the environment the person finds himself. And we have dimensions in the physical identity. And one of the dimensions we talk about is what? It's one being a pin coat, another is the multicolored, and the third is the square peg. To sum everything up, I will say, true success is not the wealth we accumulate in our bank accounts, but rather the seed of success we cultivate in the lives and minds of people. Stay blessed and always remember, a determiner never gives up.